Don't you realize? Our parents, they want the best of stuff for us. It's our time.
I so much want your understanding. I want your respect.
Oh, come on. It can't be that bad. I'll do it with you.
Okay, potato chips, other salty snacks.
Good advice. That doctor obviously knows what he's talking about.
Butter, heavy cream, cheese.
Gone? Makes a lot of sense.
Alcoholic beverages.
Okay, that doctor's a quack.
I knew the food would be bad.
Sorry. You're unusually limber this morning.
I'll say.
And then we practiced high kicks. Watch. You!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Melt Off Podcast. I am UrzaMaster, and unfortunately today, Goonie Mama is not with me. She's in Mexico on vacation, so congrats to Goonie Mama for taking some time off to herself. Wellness is always best served when you recognize your own needs and take care of them. She's certainly getting some much-needed R&R after back-to-back pregnancies, so wishing her all the best and all my love. Again, I am UrzaMaster, and this week, I know we've been off for a couple weeks here, I wanted to talk about plateaus and weight loss. We'll kick things off as we always do. Today I weighed in at 272, a number I have not seen on the scale for a very long time. I don't even remember how many years it's been. But it's been around 4 days now, and I have not broken lower than that number. Well, I dipped down to 271 for a day, but something I wanted to talk about because plateaus in weight loss are extremely frustrating. And Goonie Mama doing Noom knows all about this as well. Noom focuses on this quite a bit during their sort of learning process. And basically, a plateau is the number on that scale that just doesn't seem to go away and really can bring you down as you're trying to mentally stay in the game of weight loss and focus on your health and improvement. I know for me, many times I would hit a plateau and get stuck, and I would give up on my diet or give up on my exercise routine or both, and eventually would just gain all the weight back. And I think many people who are doing a weight loss program that does not involve surgery typically do run into that. It's very tough to overcome a plateau. And there's a few things that you can do to overcome these. One that I have found to be most useful, not only on Noom, but as post-bariatric, is to focus on protein intake. For me, I have a hard time getting in protein because I can only eat very low volume. And, of course, I've been struggling with hydration. Protein drinks are a great way to get both. The nice thing about the Fairlife is they taste really good, and they have very high protein versions. They do make a 26-gram bottle and a 42. I prefer the Elite because, again, that's 42 grams of protein out of the way for the day, so that if I don't feel like I can eat eggs or, lean, soft meats like fish or really well cut up chicken, because stomach's just tiny, a couple of bites and I might be done. I might not get enough protein out of food. This is a great way to do it without having to mix up protein from powder. And I don't like adding the non-flavored protein powder to Jell-O or soups. I tried adding it to a soup and it turned into paper. I use Isopure unflavored. It mixes well with other things, but I put it in tomato soup, and it looked like cheese, and I was like, okay, this could be good. And when I took a couple bites, it felt like I had just eaten a small piece of paper, which was really unsettling. And it could be the way I cooked it. I have yet to go back and try it because I was just so disgusted, and it's become a mental block now. But plateaus are mental blocks too. You can push through them. Sometimes it's just adjusting your activity level. Sometimes it's ratcheting up. Increasing the weight you're lifting or the distance you're running, or it may be that you're overdoing it and you may need to dial that back a little bit and let your body rest and catch up. It could be hydration issues. For me, I think it's a combination. It's low protein and not enough hydration. I've been very fortunate. I haven't had headaches, so I know I'm not dehydrated, but I'm probably like riding that bottom wave of almost dehydrated kind of all the time. You can kind of to tell. I've had some chapped lips. I had one split. It's tough to stay hydrated. I can't drink as much as I would like to at a time, because before surgery I could gulp water and drink 9, 10, 12 glasses a day, or drink a whole gallon jug, you know, in a couple hours, no problem. I can't do that anymore. I have to pace out my water intake, and of course we're locating, well, actually I should say we purchased a new house and we're in the process of selling our house. And the trick with that is trying to remember to stay hydrated, remember to eat, and also get all the other stuff done that I'm trying to do, to have the house ready for showings and to take care of the kids, and especially now with Goonie Mama on vacation, everything's magnified. So trying to keep everything organized, it's tough. Life happens, and I would say, you know, to our listeners out there that, you know, don't sweat a plateau necessarily. You'll eventually push through. It may last a week, it may last a month, maybe more, but if you keep at it and you stay diligent, the number will eventually go down. And remember, the number on the scale isn't everything, especially if you're working out with heavy weights, or even just high repetition weights. You're building that muscle. And I know from moving boxes around for the last week and a half, I've probably lost weight because my belt that I drilled a new hole in is already fitting really, really nicely instead of tight. So it's like it's a small loss, but it's a loss of inches. You know, physical size diminishes, even though your overall weight may not diminish, which means you're just building muscle, or leaning out muscle and losing some of that fatty muscle tissue that, you know, we all don't want to have. We want to have good lean muscle that can efficiently burn calories and maintain that fat burn that we're all looking for. So Noom will teach you that pushing through a plateau starts with your head, remembering that, you know, this is not a perfect process, that it takes time, that sometimes you have to tweak what you're doing. Maybe you're eating a little too much protein or not enough protein, or maybe you need to adjust your diet a little bit. Maybe you're not getting enough fiber. You may potentially be a little blocked up. I mean, nobody likes to talk about the poop, but poop is important. If you're not making regular bowel movements, you know, consider some Miralax or a stool softener of some kind. You may just be retaining your waste, and that's, you know, kind of part of that starvation mode that our body can go into sometimes. And it's a good thing, and it can also be kind of detrimental to your mental game of watching that scale every day. I prefer to weigh myself every day. It's not necessary. You know, weighing yourself every week, like they do on Weight Watchers, is kind of nice, because then you don't see the daily ups and downs. And they are ups and downs. A few ounces here, a few ounces there, maybe a pound or 2 pounds. You know, Goonie Mama has told me on many occasions, if it's that time of the month for her, it can flux a few pounds. And that's bloat and water and, you know, all that uncomfortable stuff that comes with, you know, unfortunately women's, well, people with uteruses, their genetic makeup and their hormonal balances that they have to maintain, and being ready for pregnancy. Well, potentially maybe you're pregnant. I don't know. I'm a man, so forgive me for not being very well educated on it. I try and keep up with it, but there's a lot to remember about everything. So I will try my best, in absence of Goonie Mama not being here to tell me I'm stupid. Just kidding. But to correct me, let's say. But I really have struggled with plateaus, and Noom opened my eyes to the idea that they're not the end of the world. They really can be a good building tool for you to recognize that you're not stuck because you can't lose the weight. You're stuck because you need to get creative. You're stuck because you need to find a way to refocus your routine and re-energize around your goals. I like to remind myself in the mornings. I like to do my little meditation in the shower and just remind myself of the journey I'm on and how far I've come. And even though this number on the scale isn't where I want it yet, that doesn't mean it's not going to be there in a week. That doesn't mean the next time I weigh in at the doctor, it's not going to be some shockingly low number that I haven't seen since high school. I mean, it's hard. And I think for those of us who are, 100 pounds or more overweight, sometimes remembering what a healthy us looks like, or knowing what a healthy us looks like because we've never seen it before, it's intimidating all its own. You may not have an idea of where your body's going to go or how it's going to look. But honestly, what really matters is your health. It doesn't so much matter the shape of your body. People come in all kinds of shapes and sizes, tall, short, skinny, wide. It's not a big deal. What matters is, does your heart work the way it should? Is your blood pressure where it should be? How's your cholesterol? Do you have all the vitamins and minerals you need in your body? Are you taking in the right kinds of foods for longevity and for a happy, healthy life? Weight loss isn't about fitting into something or looking a certain way. Weight loss is about long-term life and a high quality of life. And that's, I think, where people can struggle sometimes is, it's not all that hard necessarily when you're not that much overweight to trim a few pounds by crash dieting so you can look good on the beach for your vacation. It's different when you need to retool your whole being to make sure that when you go to the doctor, you're not on death's door, and you're able to fight off any sicknesses that may come by. And that starts with diet and exercise and making sure that everything works right. There's no guarantee to life or health, but this is one big way you can help yourself. It's why I did the bariatric program. Having the right motivations, especially for a non-reversible surgery like mine, the Roux-en-Y gastric bypass. I can't focus on I want to look a certain way. I need to have certain numbers. I need to have a healthy blood pressure. I need to be here for my kids when they grow up. And that's something that I know Goonie Mama doing Noom, that's her concern too. She's beautiful, and she looks great. She's always looked great. That's my opinion, of course, but, I'm the one that matters, technically, because I'm the husband. And she wants to feel confident in herself, so she does want to lose some weight for that reason, for aesthetics. But the biggest reason is we have 3 kids, and we want to be here to enjoy them growing up and to be here when they have kids of their own, so we can be the cool grandparents that, I think every parent sort of secretly wants to be, because having kids is stressful, and it's so much easier when you can be like, yeah, I had a great 6 hours with the baby. Here you go, son. Take this one back. I'm good. I'm going to go take a nap. So, getting back to Plateaus, I have on every weight loss program I've ever done, Noom, Weight Watchers, keto, juicing, everything I've ever done, I've hit a plateau. And on Noom, I was able to push through a couple of times, and a lot of the times it was I wasn't eating enough, and that really surprised me. I think a lot of people would be shocked to hear that you actually sometimes have to eat more than you think you should to lose the weight. It's not just about starving yourself. You have to take in, the right nutrition, the right amount of protein, hit your macros, and then you'll see weight start to come off because your body's not trying to cling on to every calorie. And it's also about what you eat. I know recently, because of showings and stuff, we've had to eat out, so my options have not been the healthiest in the world. I've done well by focusing on, okay, what's high in protein and relatively low in fat, and what's acceptable, what fits, the new normal for me. What will my stomach handle is kind of the biggest one, which is very tough, 6 weeks out for 5 weeks out from surgery. But I've been able to manage, and that probably has played into it. I've not been able to focus on the liquid protein and hydration as much as I would have liked to. I know that because I've been thirsty at every meal too, and then I try to take a tiny little sip of water because it's like my mouth is dry and it's hard to eat when your mouth is so dry, and then you get that horrible pain in your stomach and you're like, okay, that was a huge mistake. The 30-30-30 rule is very, very important. 30 minutes ahead of your meal, stop drinking any fluids. During your meal, eat for 30 minutes at least, and don't drink anything while you eat. And wait 30 minutes before you have anything. I mean, an hour and a half, at a minimum, is a hard commitment to make, especially when you're a little dehydrated going into it. And that's why, hydration comes first, protein after that. And then if you're able to get the right numbers in, you can start, kind of branching out a little bit. But you have to be cognizant, too, of the fact that, some of those sweets look really good, but how are they going to make you feel? They're not adding anything. We had a group session this week through Mayo, and I attended as a speaker. And one of the speakers that really influenced me was there as well. And he brought up the same point he brought up in my group, and it was a great reminder for me, and I think it's great for anybody doing bariatric, but certainly anybody trying to lose weight. It's, when you're eating, choosing what foods you do eat, it should play into your head, like, what nutritional value are you getting from these foods? He said, I basically stopped eating bread and lettuce because there's really no nutritional factor there. They're fillers. Lettuce is basically water and fiber, but it takes more water to process in your body than you're getting from the actual lettuce. And it's true, bread is basically just carbs. I mean, there's really nothing else there. Some dietary fiber, maybe some other vitamins and minerals depending on what kind of bread you're eating. But for those of us who've done bariatric surgery, Roux-en-Y specifically, I mean, we don't need that. We're getting a lot of that from our supplements, but we're also needing to focus on other nutrients that are much more important. The fiber is something you do need to get in. It's important, but you should be getting that from vegetables. You should be getting that from fiber mixtures that you add to water to keep yourself hydrated and get things that will help you in the long run maintain your health. So you have to kind of dissect his advice, but it's solid. It's very, very solid advice. And he's lost, a ton of weight. I think he said 130 or 160 pounds in 18 months, which is, it's life-changing. I thought the 50 pounds I've lost so far was absolutely life-changing. 52. It feels life-changing. I have more energy. My joints feel good. My back doesn't hurt. Other than moving boxes around, I have not had the back pain that I have been used to for the last, decade at all since I've had the surgery, which has been, like a silent gift. Until I think about it, it's something that I would have never fathomed was so important to me. But the chronic pain you're in, really, it impacts you in a lot of ways you don't even notice. And I think anybody out there who suffers from chronic pain may understand what I'm saying. And sometimes weight loss is directly correlated to that. For me, it certainly was. So, those of you out there who are on a weight loss journey, this is not me preaching to you, but there's so many benefits to finally getting that weight off. And it's not just because you should look a certain way, because you can look any way you look. All bodies are valid. It's about your health. It's about your well-being, both mental and physical. And, a plateau can be one of those big stumbling blocks. And it is tough. It's tough to find motivation when you see that same number every day for almost a week. And you feel like, what's the point? Well, think of how far you've come. Maybe you've only come 5 pounds, but that's 5 pounds. That's still a good amount of weight. Think of the impact on your knees and your joints and your hips. Gosh, that can make a world of difference in your pain level when you work out. Or even just doing everyday things. Picking up my kids has never been easier. It used to really hurt my back to bend over the crib and lift my sons out of their sleeping positions. Or to bend over and change a diaper, especially when they're full of poop. Poop again. We always talk about poop on this show. But sitting there and wiping, your lower back kind of seizes up. I don't get that nearly as much as I once did. And that's, I think, directly due to my weight loss. And, there's no other way of doing that in a healthy manner that can relieve a lot of that. I've been packing and moving basically every box out of this house. My wife packed a few, but I moved everything from the house to the garage. And I'll be perfectly honest, I haven't even felt all that sore. I'm stronger than I ever have been. I'm more flexible. I can cross my legs. I've not been able to do that in many years. And I mean just casually do it. I don't have to lift a leg with my hands to make it happen or grab my pant leg to articulate my joint up. Oh, I can just do it now. And that, it's amazing the little things like that you'll notice as you go through your journey. When you hit those plateaus, just remember those little things. It's hard. I can't stress enough how mentally difficult it is to commit to the fact that there are little things playing into everything that you need to remind yourself of. Sometimes you have to sit there and just list them for yourself. And then you'll realize, wow, I really have come a long way, and I really should be proud. And you should. You should always be proud of who you are, and you're doing great. I want to leave this little brief melt-off podcast with a message of extreme positivity. For those of you out there on weight loss journeys or on the bariatric program or wherever you may be at, planning stage of your next health journey, you're doing great. The fact that you're taking a vested interest in yourself, your health, your relationships, your happiness, that's fantastic. You're ahead of the game, and you should really be proud of that. Taking that next step is scary, but you can do it. Anybody can do it. You just have to remember who you are, be true to yourself, and remember that it's not about pleasing others. It's not about looking away in the mirror. It's about living a quality life for as long as you can, and doing it in a way that's healthy and promotes good habits and good lifestyles. That, if you have kids especially, I mean, us parents, we always talk about our kids. I know it gets a little sickening for those without kids. I was one of you once. I'm not saying that kids are everything, because some people can't have them, some people don't want them, and that's fine too. But being there for your kids, whether they're your fur babies or your human babies, is everything. And being there for the relationships, the people you love, and being able to do the things you want to do with them, whether it's going for a hike, going to the pool, going on vacation, just sitting down to a nice meal, and enjoying the time you have with the loved ones, because we never get as much time as we want. That's what it's all about. And that health journey that you're on, that you're doing so great at by just embarking upon it and focusing on it as much as you can, it's okay to have a misstep. It's okay to have a plateau. Just keep pushing, because you will get to your goals. You will eventually get there. It may take time. Nothing happens overnight. Rome was not built in a day, and it wasn't destroyed in a day either. So it's okay to make mistakes or slip up once in a while. Lord knows I've done it now after my surgery, and I've definitely done it on every other weight loss thing I've ever done. But coming back and recovering and getting to that next step and remembering how far you can go and how far you've come, boy, it's just right on. So with that, I will conclude today's Melt Off episode. I do appreciate all of you listeners out there. I know this is a shorter episode than historically what we do, but again, I'm one half of the show. Kudos to Goody Mama for taking care of herself. She's on vacation in Mexico right now, so we wish her well, and certainly do look forward to having her back next week. Again, we are in the process of moving, so we may have to take a surprise week off here or there from the show, just to get things packed up and or actually move things. But we really value all our listenership. Just remember that you are a loved human being, and that you are doing great, and you are on a journey that has to matter to you first. Everybody else will be supportive, and if they're not, they really matter that much. It's what you think, and it's your health that matters. Thanks again. Join us next time as we continue to melt off.